Yeah, dang it.
I hereby call this meeting to order. I would like to thank tonight's presenters and everyone joining in person and via live stream. Thank you for being here. Tonight, our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Henry Lagas. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oops.
Just right there.
Okay.
That was a good time.
Thank you, Henry. That was a good job. All right. Next on the item, Robert's Rules of Order. We have nothing really to talk about there. Next would be to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Is there a motion?
I move that the board approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. We approve tonight's agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next would be awards and recognition. And Brenda Miner is going to conduct that tonight.
Good evening. This is a different role for me. Instead of human resources, I'm super excited that I get to share the special awards with our learners and our special staff member tonight. So you're going to have to bear with me because I'm probably going to read every word of it because people don't get recognized enough, so I want them to make sure and bask in the whole letter. So here we go. So Pocatello Public School District 25 believes a safe, supportive, caring, and respectful environment is essential to learner success. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with the Johnson Family McDonald's, sponsors the Cake Award to recognize one elementary and one secondary learner each month from October through May. CAKE stands for Character, Attitude, Kindness, and Encouragement. Nominations are submitted by teachers who observe these qualities in their learners and are approved by each school's principal. So tonight, the recipients, along with being recognized at the board meeting, they will receive a gift card, both the learner and the person who nominated them, and a $50 book donation to their school's library. So that'll be a fun opportunity for you to work with the librarian and pick out books. So this one is super exciting. It's my old stomping grounds. This is a second grader at Wilcox Elementary, and his name is Gordon Darrington. Gordon, would you mind coming up here? And Gordon was nominated by Nora Wilkes. Would she mind coming up here as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready to hear all these great things about you, Gordon? We are pleased to recognize Gordon Darrington, a second grade learner at Wilcox, fifth grade. I already have, that was a typo. As our elementary Cake Award recipient. Gordon was nominated by his teacher, Nora Wilkes. In her nomination letter, Ms. Wilkes describes Gordon as an exceptional example of character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement. Each day he comes to school excited to learn and eager to connect with those around him, bringing a positive energy that's felt throughout his classroom. He's often the first to invite others to join him, making sure no one feels left out. Gordon looks for opportunities to build connections and goes out of his way to help others feel valued and included. His teacher shared that he finds thoughtful ways to lift others up, often noticing what might bring a classmate joy and acting on it. Gordon's kindness is genuine and selfless. He offers help quietly without seeking recognition, sometimes assisting a classmate behind the scenes so they can experience success on their own. His peers recognize this quality as well, even identifying him as someone who demonstrates true selflessness. In addition to his character, Gordon approaches learning with enthusiasm and effort. He consistently gives his best, taking joy in discovering new ideas and encourages his classmates to share in that excitement. His positive attitude toward learning helps create a classroom environment where others feel motivated to do the same. Through his compassion, encouragement, and love of learning, Gordon makes a meaningful impact on those around him. Please join us in congratulating Gordon as this month's Cake Award recipient. Certificate for you, and then when you leave, you'll get the rest when you head out this way, but I want you to shake all of these people's hands so they can tell you how great you are. Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, guys. Keep good work, and I like it. Bill.
So much for that nomination.
Awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Good job. Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you so much. Now we're getting ready for our secondary award winner, and this is Ellis Axford. Ellis comes to us 8th grade from Franklin Middle School and was nominated by Michael Hellman. Would you both come up here? We are pleased to recognize Ellis Axford, an 8th grade learner at Franklin, as our secondary cake award recipient. Ellis was nominated by his teacher, Mr. Michael Hellman. Ellis is described by Mr. Hellman as a learner who consistently exemplifies kindness and a cheerful attitude. Over the past 3 years in band at Franklin Middle School, Ellis has demonstrated commitment, perseverance, and a willingness to grow. Mr. Hellman shared that Ellis began as a trumpet player in 6th grade, where he quickly found success while also supporting those around him. Even when he discovered that trumpet was not his passion, Ellis remained committed and finished the year strong. As an 8th grader, he transitioned to percussion, putting in significant effort outside of school to develop the necessary skills and fully embrace a new challenge. I bet you his parents had to embrace that new challenge, too, right, of percussion. Ellis approached this transition with determination, quickly becoming a supportive member of the section. Despite being new, he consistently volunteered to help others and contributed positively to the group dynamic. One of the most notable highlights of Ellis's journey came this year when he composed an original piece for the band titled "Storm the Castle." The piece was performed at the winter concert, marking a first in Mr. Hellman's 21 years of teaching. This accomplishment reflects Ellis's creativity, initiative, and dedication to his craft. Mr. Hellman noted that Ellis is both a learner who benefits from being part of the band and one who strengthens the program through his presence. His positive attitude and encouragement contribute to a supportive and uplifting environment for his peers. Through his perseverance, creativity, and consistent encouragement of others, Ellis makes a meaningful impact on the Franklin Middle School community. Please join us in congratulating Ellis Axford.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ellis.
Thank you for that nomination.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice
you, Mr.
job.
World premiere.
Yes, yeah.
Bigger and better things.
That's awesome.
Along with the Cake Awards, we do a PIWA Award for the Employee of the Month. PI's award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. This award is for the employees who go above and beyond in that effort. PI's award recipients receive a $50 gift card from Lookout Credit Union, our education partner for this award. Tonight's recipient is Kim Madkin. She is our 6th through 8th grade pass room teacher at Irving Middle School, and she was nominated by Ellen Lagus. Kim, Ellen, would you like to come up? I'm going to start this presentation before she even gets up here and let her know that she's also an amazing parent. I taught her child, so. This month, we recognize Kim Madkin as our PIES Award recipient. Miss Madkin serves as the heart of the pass room at Irving Middle School, supporting learners in grades 6 through 8 through detention, credit recovery, in-school suspension, and academic support. As our nominator, Assistant Principal Ellen Lagus shared what truly sets Kim apart is the way she connects with learners, especially those who need her the most. Students often come to the pass room on difficult days, and Kim meets each one with calm, respect, and genuine care. She listens first, helps learners reset, and guides them to reflect and make better choices without shame or judgment. Because of this, students feel safe, and when students feel safe, they're more willing to grow. Kim builds strong, meaningful relationships by noticing what others might miss. She recognizes when learners are struggling, academically, emotionally, or personally, and follows up with intention. She celebrates small successes, checks in regularly, and ensures students know they matter. For many of Irving's most at-risk learners, she is a key reason they remain engaged in school. Her kindness is evident in both big and small ways, whether quietly making sure a student has something to eat or offering support while preserving their dignity. Kim creates an environment where learners feel welcomed, valued, and capable of starting fresh. At the same time, she holds students accountable. supporting them in the completing work, recovering credits, and learning from mistakes, while reinforcing that one decision does not define them. Her positive, solution-focused approach models patience, respect, and encouragement each day. Ms. Ligas also shared that Kim does far more than manage a space. She changes the way students see themselves. Through her compassion, consistency, and belief in learners, Kim Madkin has made a lasting impact on the learning at Irving Middle School. Please join us in congratulating Kim Madkin.
Thank you for all the great work you do.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for
Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a tough job. Thank you for the nomination.
doing all those things for us. Okay, next item on the agenda are reports from the student representatives. I understand that we have a written report from Century High School, and next up we have Highland.
Do you want someone to read Century?
Do you have?
After she.
It's good to see you all this month. It's been testing season at Highland, so the juniors just finished. Our ISATs and our SATs are tomorrow. So prayers for me from all of you. 1,600, we're manifesting. Before spring break, Highland raised over $12,000 for our Make-A-Wish kid Lily, which is the most amount of money we've ever raised for Make-A-Wish. So that was a huge achievement for us, and our final assembly was amazing. All the girls in student government dressed up as princesses to greet Lily and send her off to Disney World, and it was amazing. Highland Speech took first at state in Division 3. Miley Martin and Sammy Maurer were our state champions with 9 other state placers, 1st through 6th. We're super proud of them. Highland students Bridger Baker and Harper Merrill were chosen for the Pocatello-Chubbuck School District 25 Terry Perkins Scholarship, so we're super excited for them. Our Highland drama students who were recognized at the Idaho Patty Duke Awards. This is kind of like the Grammys for Idaho theater. So the following were recognized. Drew Brower and Miley Daly were recognized with Best Lead Role and were chosen as Patty Duke Jimmy Award finalists, and the top award for drama students, which is the top award for drama students in Idaho. Seth Satterfield, Mallory Noyes, and Emma Mallon were chosen as outstanding drama students for an intensive training week opportunity. And Highland High School drama overall was recognized for outstanding student sound design, outstanding student stage management, and outstanding overall theater production, which is the top award for high schools. We're super proud of our drama program. They have a lot of achievements every year. We love them. And then finally, our teachers are moving in to share classrooms for a little bit while we finish up some construction and get started on the science labs in one of our hallways. So we'll be cramped for a while, but we're really excited to see the new rooms and all the new facilities that we're so lucky to be able to use next year. And that's all I have for you today.
All right, thank you, Braylon. Next up, Pocatello High School.
All right. In regards to the state speech, we had a few state champions, including Miss Adeline Reinhold, who is back-to-back extemporaneous speaking state champion, which is super good for her. Track, baseball, and softball seasons are all underway, and we wish our teams luck as they continue to play the best they can. Testing season is also underway for us, and we've finished our math and English ISATs and are now ready for our SATs and science ISATs tomorrow. Wish me luck, too. During the month of April, we have an event known as Dash for Cash, where every Thursday we go around the school looking for change to help support a student, Make-A-Wish, whatever good thing we decide to use the funds for. We just recently concluded our co-student body president elections, and I'm glad to say that the co-student body presidents for next school year will be Landon Rasmussen and Paisley Larson. I very much look forward to what they're going to do next year. And now our class officer elections are underway, with voting having opened yesterday. So maybe next meeting I'll have have the next junior class president with me so that they can learn the ropes. And that's all I've got for you today.
Wow, thank you very much. We do have the addendum here in the packet for Century High School. Deanna, would you like to read that report?
Sure. Hi, Pocatello. I think this is, I'm not sure that if this is Lily or Beza or both of them. Lily Orgel and Beza Admasu. Hi, Pocatello Chadwick School Board. We are so sorry, but all of our ASB students are busy with sports and activities representing Century tonight. In the past month or so, we have celebrated our Century tennis seniors on April 20th. We celebrated our Century baseball seniors. We hosted MORP, and that's a dance, and prom coming up on May 9th. For the first time in a decade, we're having it at ISU Ballroom. We had ISATs for our juniors on April 8th, and juniors have been studying diligently. On April 22nd, we are having science, ISATs, and SATs, and our juniors are preparing and studying. We are very proud of our students putting in the time for their testing. Next on our list is preparing for AP exams the 1st of May. Miss Shawn Ruth won Drama Teacher of the Year for the state Patty Duke Awards. Our Diamondback Dramatics hosted James and the Giant Peach as our spring musical. This work was submitted for consideration with the Patty Duke program, and we had several winners, including Best Supporting Actors, Stage Manager, Lighting, and more. 3 of our actors will represent Century at the intensive week at the Morrison Center in Boise, and 1 will compete for the Jimmies. We are so proud of the theater program. Our track and field, tennis, softball teams are all doing what Diamondbacks do, and that is great. We are very excited for the last stretch of 2025-2026 school year, and we are excited to finish the year off strong and be Century Diamondbacks.
All right, well, thank you. All right, up next we have a public written comment. We do have a written comment in the packet. I'm sure everybody had a chance to read that. We do not have anyone who wishes to make a public comment at the meeting. So next we have come to the approval of the minutes. The minutes have been posted for the board work session of March the 10th and our regular board meeting of March the 17th. Does anyone wish to make a motion regarding the approval of those minutes?
I hereby move that the board approve the March board minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded that we approve the board minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have attachments there for the payment of claims, supplemental financial data, human resource activity addendum, out-of-state overnight travel requests, and camp requests. Does anyone have any comments or questions regarding that information in the packet? If not, then the board is ready to receive a motion that we approve these agenda items, I'm sorry.
I move that we approve the agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded that we approve the consent agenda items as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next would be the self-explanatory reports, and there's information there on the Idaho General Fund Revenue Report, Capital Improvement Plan projects, food service free and reduced meals, communications and community relations, student bus ridership, student enrollment report, student suspension report. Does anyone wish to have any questions or comments regarding those abstracts? Okay. We'll move on next then to curriculum, instruction, technology, school safety, and athletics. First, we have the preliminary elementary and kindergarten enrollment update by A.J. Watson.
Good evening, trustees. Included in your packet tonight, you have our kindergarten registration numbers. As you can see, they are very comparable to the last few years, just in terms of this is the initial registration numbers, 554 kindergarten learners, about 3 different from where we were at last year at the same time. On the first day of registration, we had about 8 more than the prior year, so very close to what we had last year. As they continue to roll in, the last 2 or 3 years, we've been right around the 730 mark for total kindergartners, so not seeing a significant increase, but also not a decline. Just as a reminder, as we look at these numbers, And as we've seen this trend the last few years, we continue to have more secondary seniors that will be graduating versus the number of kindergartners coming in. So even as we say we're holding steady, we're still district-wide enrollment losing, anywhere from 180 to 200 students a year as the higher numbers graduate and we have lower numbers coming in. And that concludes, quick report and update on numbers. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Okay, no questions, and we'll move on next to the preliminary secondary enrollment update by Susan Pettit.
So as you can see, our preliminary numbers, they're actually holding very steady from last year to this year. The boundary changes that we've done for the middle school is helping to balance those middle school numbers a little bit. Alameda's up a little bit, Irving's down a little bit, so that's a good thing. We needed to have that happen. Century, Pokey, and Highland are within 5 of last year across the board, so that's they're holding steady. So the next thing we have is the TRIO MOU. We work with TRIO at ISU for our first-time college students, and we have not had an MOU with them. They come in and ask for student education records, and they have a signed paper from a parent saying that they can do that, but we've never had an MOU with them, and our attorney suggested we have an MOU, so she drafted, and ISU's attorney has looked at it and made a few changes, and then this is what's coming to you tonight.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about the MOU? Well, therefore, we're ready to receive a motion that we approve this MOU. Is there one?
I hereby move that the board approve the TRIO program's MOU 26 through 2029 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
The motion has been made and seconded that we approve this MOU. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Next up, we have a 4- and 5-day school week follow-up presentation. And so we don't have a presenter, or?
Not necessarily a presentation, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, but just, we had a little bit of an update. I didn't know if the board had any follow-up questions or comments, or having, a week to consider or digest all of that information last week. But Mr. Balls did receive some information. We talked a little bit about half-days versus full days, and I mentioned that it's by the hours, but Mr. Balls did get some clarification on that. So I would like him to share that with you this evening.
Yes, please do.
And it's really, good evening, board members. Again, we're talking instructional hours. There's requirements on that. And there's also guidance on attendance. And really, they're laid over on top of each other. We get paid by ADA, but then there's a required amount. And so what I was kind of referring to, for example, I'll just read it. Again, these are, there's 3 settings, if you will, for attendance. Less than 2.5 hours in school, you get 0 attendance. You don't get credit if you're less than 2.5 hours. Between 2.5 hours and up to 4 hours is a half a day of attendance. And then anything over 4 hours is a full day of attendance. Now, that excludes any, obviously, breakfast, lunch, any breaks, which is passing time in your secondaries, or recess time. That does not get counted into these number of hours. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how you get a full ADA. You have to be at least over those 4 hours of really, they call it, instructional time. And then the hours on top of that, there's the minimums that are set by the state that we balance our calendar to.
Thank you. I do have a question. Jonathan, I was wondering if we had the discussion about possibly a half-day, but then also, I really liked Ms. Spalding's feedback in her email. She talked about needing, and I've heard this from a lot of teachers, not just her, needing some extra time for kids that are behind, you have makeup work or whatever, not as punitive,
Punitive.
Yeah.
not as a punitive thing. It's not for punishment. It's not
Sure.
for, oh, you were tardy, oh, you were absent, so you have to come. It's not for that. I'm just wondering, how would those hours be counted? Because there would only be some kids there and some that are not
Yeah.
supposed to, how does that even counted?
So, and anybody can jump in there. It's my understanding that, that these hours, basically, everybody has to be there.
Oh,
So.
So they wouldn't even get
I
counted.
don't think it would count if it's just those that need extra help or something like that. Unless there's an option that, okay, these are coming in person and then we have a virtual day. I mean, that comes into that component. I think some other school districts have tried that. It is challenging, because we have to be really careful so it doesn't impact our ADA, that attendance value, because we need obviously, students to be educated to receive, funding. Does
Yeah,
that
because
answer
it's still, yeah, and I guess in my mind, it's still, because that makes sense, but then it's still, a lot of them are there the full day, so then we just don't get the money for that other half of the day, even though there would be a lot of, if that's that's what she had suggested, is the half day and then the other half of the day for kids that are struggling.
As long as
I was just curious.
as long as the school, our district, is there for at least 4 hours of instructional time, we do get to count that as a full day. For example, early release Mondays is a full day of attendance currently, but yet they're able to go home an hour earlier, which is well over the 4 hours required for that full day of attendance.
Yeah, and a half day would not be.
Correct. It's normally that 1 o'clock-ish is, in my history with schools, that's normally the sweet time, if it's a regular start time of when that happens, when it puts over into that 4 hours. But it's really it's really the elementary with the early morning recess and so forth. It has to be district-wide, so we just have to kind of see what that would look like.
That would be so hard, because you can't count the breaks.
Correct.
You can't
Nope,
count
can't count that.
lunch, and no one's gonna come back after lunch. So do you just make like those class long?
And that's the whole.
And like, then you
I
have
think
lunch
that's
at
the whole
the end?
problem
or-
of this. I think we have a good situation with early release Mondays, because they go to lunch and then there's still some instruction time, but yet then we still have good time for PLCs and different collaborations within the schools for that last hour and a half of contract time for teachers.
Everything's just shrunk. So
Dur-
they have everything, it's just lunch is earlier, everything is shrunk,
During
including
those
the
early
lunch.
release Mondays.
So it's kind of
yeah.
the same schedule, it's just shorter.
Yeah.
So a half day, I don't know, would it be the same thing? I don't know.
That's the challenge, and that's,
Seems a little bit
and that's,
complicated.
I know some of the school districts have tried it and they've gone away from it just because as we're struggling it in our minds, that's a real struggle. And so then it's better, okay, let's just, do what we have currently as well.
So I know we had an extensive discussion about this at the work session, and I think what I understood, and I appreciate that we're bringing it up again here, but just my understanding and what I would like to propose we continue to move forward with is that committee. I think there's a lot of examples in the area that we could cull, what they're doing, how they're doing it. Someone's already studied the wheel. Let's figure out, because I'm curious how Idaho Falls is doing it, because obviously they've got the same kind of issues.
Sure.
And I think it's got to be understood that I think we all agreed that a full nothing on Friday was not an option. That's not what we're looking at, because we believe, like the governor wants kids in seats, and that's why he refuses to go to an enrollment-based, which is really unfortunate, because I think kids learn in a lot of different ways. But anyway, I would like us to get that committee put together where we look at the other areas, look at what, I guess maybe we think about what are the things that we need that are non-negotiables, like,
Sure.
making sure our classified staff is not, a huge pay cut.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
that,
think we've
absolutely.
talked about what our special needs kids need and what kind of resources they might need. yes, it means maybe providing a little relief to our teachers in a different kind of way, but I don't think I see it as a day off, because I think that professional development is still key. And so it becomes a maybe less intensive instruction time on that half day, but yet allow them to focus on those kids who need the most help. But anyway, these are just the things I'm hearing and what I'm thinking in my mind, so I would really like us to move forward with that ad hoc committee that can really look at those things. And at the end of the day, we may decide that it just isn't a good fit for our district because of our size and the community needs, and whether it be, the food scarcity that we've talked about, whether it's the daycare needs. And granted, I know we're not a restaurant, we're not a daycare, but yet we still care about our community. So, and obviously the number one being our educational needs. So I just don't think we're going to make that decision here, because I'd like a lot more understanding of what and how other districts are dealing with some of the issues that you've brought up, or that the whole cabinet brought up. So that's what I'd like to say.
Yes, Deanna?
So do you want to add it to the next week's work session to create that committee?
Next month.
I mean, next month.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So that
How does everyone else feel about that?
We all,
Okay, I think we have a consensus. Yes, let's go ahead and do that. Is that it, Jonathan?
That's all I had.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Next up, we have the Human Resources, and I think Brenda stepped down.
And
She
there's,
doesn't have anything on hers.
it just was a placeholder, so
Oh,
that's,
okay. Okay,
think-
great.
So Jonathan still.
Okay,
yeah,
Jonathan, for-
you're up with me.
It's the Jonathan show.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so
glad
sorry. Some of these will be shorter and some will be a little bit longer. You want me to?
Please do.
Okay, sounds great. First up on the agenda is a Highland High School rebuild project update and committee report. Again, by the way of an update, again, as I say every month, we're on schedule and on budget. And so the people that have been able to go through it, we were able to take our two communities' mayors through it this last.
Snow and the wind.
Yeah, that was the more recent, I guess it was. Yep, so we've taken a few people through that construction, and they're very impressed. They're very excited. And that's, again, on the 14th, and I think that's what you were mentioning. Yeah, it was so cold, but I think everybody's really, really excited about there. I appreciate Ms. Judy and Ms. Clark for being there, and I've got a few notes here, but I'd love to hear what you have to say on that committee and update, the rest of the board on that. In your packet are the same drawings that was given to the committee. Excuse me, really dealing with, as well as the meeting minutes there. Again, we went on a tour, and then I think we met in the media center for, it was a good hour and a half. And so there was a lot of great discussion, and Ms. Jensen tried her best trying to capture that. And so just a couple of comments or thoughts that I had gleaned, and again, I'd love to hear what you had as well. Again, first of all, is that a parent drop-off, a designated parent drop-off that Highlands never had there to the west side, that it was determined that it really would be used and is needed. There was some good, on the drawing, you'll see 2 crosswalks, but the committee thought, well, really, one would be sufficient there, and that way it doesn't stop traffic so much. The other one is, there was some lengthy discussion about currently as drawn as the parent drop-off would wrap around to the north side of the building and dump into our staff parking, but they just thought that causes too much challenges with those that are crossing Fairway there, and so rather they thought maybe let's explore an idea of going back into Bench Road. And then we also talked about some.
The wraparound.
Yeah, the wraparound to the north, that just, didn't know if that would, at least I think for student safety is what I heard, And again, please jump in.
So can you explain, so they didn't like, I apologize, I had to leave early before a lot of that discussion happened.
You're okay.
Is it because they didn't want to dump into Fairway?
It was,
Why was this not?
it was more, that's a major furrow there, either to cross Fairway to the Seminary Building or to walk up to the bus drop-off or to the gateway there. And so, Miss,
Yeah.
you could go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was just gonna say that, a lot of the parents that go to the front, and you kind of have to live at Highlands and all
Sure.
these things.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that use the front drop-off never intend to go on Fairway at all.
Yeah.
And with this plan, every single car would be directed up to there, across a sidewalk
Correct.
that's a big thoroughfare, and it would wrap around to the parking lot, and then let back to the same crosswalk, the same thoroughfare, so twice.
Correct.
It would cross all the kids that are coming back and forth from the seminary building, and that would cross that twice.
Yeah. And so,
Whereas this one doesn't cross any main student exiting, because you enter there at the south, and then if it dumps back onto Bench Road, it doesn't even have to cross a crosswalk, because the crosswalk is in the middle of that road.
Yep.
And so it actually goes around all the kids that are going right there, and it doesn't ever have to cut through them on the sidewalk, then cut through them on the crosswalk. And then there are some parents that do use that upper one,
Mhm.
the staff parking or whatever, and they requested the in and the out.
sure, they would
And
just
so
continue
those
to
that
use
just
those.
don't even want to ever come down to Bench Road, they just kind of go right here and go back up.
Go back up, yep.
Then it's kind of the two different groups that they're coming here and going out, they're coming here and going up. No one has to be directed all into a worse spot.
Correct. And I should mention again, these were, just some drawings, the modeling clay, if you will, to kind of get our thoughts thinking, and you will see the updated drawings, and that's why we wanted to start this so early, to have the board's consensus and get budget figures, before the fall.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm saying what the parents were saying.
yes, and I that's what I heard as
What
well.
The parents, and actually the majority of the committee.
Correct. And that's what I heard as well, is that, that way we'll have some good green space there.
And Akila, the police officer.
Yes.
So the
yeah.
parents and the police officer were saying what I just said.
Correct. Yep. And that's what I heard as well. And so that's what my notes were there. We also talked about maybe, looking into some flashing beacons at the crosswalks.
Can I
Just-
just ask a
Oh, yeah, please.
question? How is the road, because when you come out, how is the road split right now? So is it just one lane coming in?
One lane
and then
coming
How
in.
many lanes is it that goes out? Are there two?
Yes, there are two, correct? Correct
there
me.
three? How
Or is
far
there
is it
three? There's a left, a
divided?
straight,
Yeah.
and a right?
Well, currently, it's sort of like a broken down curb that people use to go straight. It's all just a really big mess.
Because it almost.
And so there's a curb right next to the road.
Yep.
That's like
Oh,
the
there are.
road and a curb. And then everybody just kind of like comes in here where there's all these staff parking, and people just come in behind those cars, so those cars can't get out unless
Oh.
if there are too deep.
They're in front, yes.
A lot of times it's too deep, because some are stopped to the left, some are moving to the right, and some are stopped to the right.
Yep.
But then the people that are parking, they have to run in and check whatever, or if staff member has to leave.
Yep.
They have to leave before school gets out, because they need to back up, and everyone's in the way of those cars backing up. I know that Dr. Howell got hit there.
I did.
And therefore now
Thank you very
avoids
much.
that.
Right there,
My sister got in a wreck there. Like, there's a lot of wrecks that happen.
So the only reason I ask that is that I wonder, and obviously now I'm getting into the weeds, but envisioning, down there on Yellowstone, you got all those plastic yellow cones, do you create a way that would funnel kids into a center lane to turn on to Fairway, and parents that could merge off, and you get two turning off, so it's not, anyway, I'm in the weeds, but,
Okay.
it just seems like if there was a way to control some of that traffic pattern that would make
Because, you know, as a parent, I don't want to sit there and wait as kids are zooming in and around and do you create a.
And that's
So-
why the way that I
Yeah,
just
I
said,
can see that, yeah.
you don't want to cross crosswalks and
Right.
thoroughfares,
Yeah, correct.
Right.
especially
And
not
pedestrians.
twice.
Right, I see that.
So again, and we have control of, the land in front of us, but, the
But not
intersection.
the road.
Yeah.
We can't ask the city to
Correct. We
paint it a
didn't
certain
have
way
that.
or.
That did come up, about that, and so there might be some community members that might start some conversations to see if they're with the new administration in the city, that they might be more amenable to support an application. But without knowing, we can only, I think we have to proceed with what we know, which is, the city still has Bench Road. We
And how
can,
much of this is not a lot of this is dependent on what happens across the street. I mean.
Correct.
This can be kind of the last.
correct, yep, thank you for that reminder. Yes, this is for summer of '27.
Okay.
And so the other parts that we'll actually review some bids today for the parking lot and tennis courts, which will happen this coming summer. And so this would be essentially taking some of that green space, taking some of the trees away, but creating, again, some more visitor parking, but then also a better parent drop-off, and so forth.
Can I just say, I've now seen that construction down the street of what was supposed to be there.
Oh, yeah,
And
oh,
Holy cow.
I
I can't
cannot
even imagine
Correct.
had that been
believe
there.
the city
Yeah.
approved that.
across the
It
street.
just, if you haven't been out there, go look. Other than driving to see Highland
Yeah.
as it's progressing, seeing that apartment complex that would have been there
Sure.
had we not secured that property.
400 more cars.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
23.
Yeah.
Thank you
Uh,
for pushing on that one.
Yeah.
So on the crosswalks, you said flashing lights, are we gonna have that so it controls and it stops the cars, or how?
We can't necessarily stop the cars, but we can, it'd be more, you've seen them around town, where they push it and then it starts flashing.
Similar
Right.
to right in front of the university.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the
Yeah, I
university.
like that.
There's one on
Helps a
Fifth.
lot. yeah.
It just kind of gets there. And obviously, as you know, it will always just be, in the morning going in the afternoon coming out, will just be still
So those lights are more of a courtesy thing.
more of a courtesy just to
You
please,
hit somebody,
Draw
and
your
then it's still,
attention.
it's your fault, but.
Yeah.
It's just, I worry about the kids. I wish there was some way we could actually have it so that stop, kids could cross for 30 seconds and then let the
Right.
cars go.
Sure.
Yes.
Railroad.
So Jim, we asked about that, and I asked if they could program that light to flash for a certain amount of time, turn off for
Yeah.
a certain amount of time. So it's not a button.
Right.
And I don't know if they have that ability to program it to go on and off like that. But
Well, I'm sure it could be done.
But
Yeah,
yeah, but
Cities are
originally
easy
the
to do
city
that.
said no to paying for that and even letting us do it. But that, I believe, is gonna change too, because with the new leadership that, there are several people working on that
correct.
So
to
that would
help
be
us with
That would be up to the city to have something like that, or is?
We would have to pay for that.
Unless the
I mean,
city
would-
agrees.
would-
Yes, unless the
permission
city,
from the city to do that?
correct, we would. I mean, right now, if you'd notice, we just paint on that. Typically, they don't like mid-block crosswalks, but again, we would ask to please have a crosswalk, because it fits right into our front door to the parking lot.
Almost 100% of the traffic on that's gonna be for the schools, so.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, and that's why, yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And this is a little bit of an exception because it's 1,500
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
We're not
Correct.
talking about a mid-block where there's not traffic. We're talking about
Yeah. And
a
we,
lot of people.
we will definitely
that
work with the
have been
city
hit
there.
By cars.
Yeah.
A lot of,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have been hit by cars, but it's a lot.
Sure.
Well, I know we always have a problem with that downtown with Main Street. The kids
Yeah.
that park at the railroad parking lot.
Of course, yeah.
It's always been a problem down there, and we don't have any way of controlling those. Just, they put a sign up and says the pedestrian has a right of way, but there's no signs, there's no stop, nothing like that. They just have to take their, and we've had actually some pretty good
Sure.
kids hurt there.
Yeah.
I worry about that here because, inexperienced drivers for one thing, and kids in a hurry and not thinking, and that would be really nice if we could actually have a way of stopping the cars so the kids could cross. Give them, like you say, 30 seconds to get across there and then stop it for, let the cars go for a minute and a half, then 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was exactly what we talked about. So we'll,
Crossing guard.
Oh, I have an
Or
idea
crossing
for
guard.
that.
crossing here.
I
So-
do.
Yeah, I was going to say crossing guards, yeah.
I think it'd
Yeah.
be cheaper to have
Yeah,
a sign
I
up
could
there,
try.
a light up there.
Sure.
Overall, I mean,
Right, yeah.
eventually.
So again, these are some good elements, and as we get the items in place, we can look to see what that
Do you wish
looks
to make
like.
a comment on that, on the crossing guards?
Oh.
No?
If you want me to tell you my idea for the crossing guards, I'd say that they have pretty hefty fines for getting in an accident, any wrongdoing in this parking lot, to try to clean it up a bit. And anyone who's in trouble can work their traffic ticket off by being a crossing guard. That's what they do at BYUI. You see all these kids, they're standing
Yeah,
on the
they're doing
street
that.
corners,
Yeah.
all over, and they're paying off their traffic ticket.
Okay. Well, that's
Well,
interesting
in
thought
any
there.
event- Yeah, I know,
It
at
is,
the
but they
university,
wanna pay
before they
off.
put
Yeah,
those
doing a good
flashing lights in, I mean,
works.
kids would just step out and you couldn't tell. There's
Correct.
traffic there and you really couldn't see, and,
But but it's for the kids that are in the crosswalk. If you jaywalk, you get a traffic ticket.
yeah, but I'm just saying, they really helps a lot. It's a lot safer in front of the university now, and so, yeah, we have to do something there.
Yeah.
But your committee's
I
discussing
just worry
that.
about the kids crossing that. I mean, that's just gonna be a madhouse right there.
Sure.
Every night and every morning.
Correct. And it's, we've had some, close calls, as, it was dirt, even the past year and a half. So, yes, we'll work, obviously, student safety is very important in all of our buildings, and that's maybe something we find that works at Highland, and maybe we can implement that at Pocatello and, and go from there.
I know a couple years ago, we had a girl got hit pretty hard by a truck down there and ended up
Yeah.
for some serious injuries, so.
Yeah. Okay. Just to continue along, in the south parking lot, it was the committee's recommendation to open up that north exit in that south parking lot. Again, it might not be a huge impact because it's still going to be one entrance, one exit there, but we think with the islands, and we believe that it would be a little bit more orderly to exit out of that.
Well, these will be islands in there now?
There's this, we will discuss that with the board. Obviously, these islands are expensive, and
People from cutting across.
but if it helps with safety, then that's what we would do. So, so anyway, again, more to come. This is just our first of many discussions. Now into the previous, where the current tennis courts are,
Yeah,
the committee.
see kids up there now.
Yeah, the committee did think that this bus parking during the school day and event parking after hours and on the weekends would be helpful to get the buses off of Fairway. And so the feedback there that, again, I'm getting my list for Design West, our design team, was obviously if we're going to put that into a parking lot, let's maximize even more so than our what's drawn there, these corners, the green space, just have the minimum amount that the city requires us to maximize that space. Again, as you know, there's the slope will be a challenge. We talked about there might be some retaining walls to be put in there, but again, we're used to that on the east side behind the high school, and so maybe we just would continue that around there.
So this buses go in and pull out? Or they
No,
go
so
through?
Then pull out, right?
they would pull in and then pull forward
Okay.
and go out.
Imagining,
It looks
was just gonna
teeny,
ask
that
the same
lane,
thing.
but I.
Yes, I promise it will.
okay. They-
We'll make sure. And then if you go over to this same setup is over at Hawthorne, and if you look, we've split that bus lane, and so basically 2 cars would park in there for event parking.
Well, Franklin has the same thing too, right?
Yes, I believe.
Painted at Franklin, though.
I don't know if it's painted
I
at
don't think
Franklin.
it's painted.
But with Lookout Field there at Hawthorne Middle School, we wanted to maximize that, so we painted the hash marks for event parking.
The middle.
That's great.
Okay. So then we had some good discussion on the exterior facade there. For the most part, everybody really liked these kind of canopies, if you will, that kind of has this metal paneling, wood underneath, that would tie into the back canopy around the new section. So they thought, okay, let's look at that in the front, but then also to the south, that we have two entrances to the south side of the building, and the committee really would like both of those to be covered, maybe staggered, different heights, and no need to cover the center, so you're not walking from door to door, but again, kind of have a little coverage for those learners and staff that are entering the south of that parking lot. We did have some discussion on, if you noticed, that they had painted all of the window stucco sections kind of a darker color. And we're gonna ask Design West to have some different options, maybe every other cover so it's not quite so stripy, but then also, okay, is there a lighter color? There's lighter colors in the new section. And so what would that look like? Maybe some different tones, if you will, to,
makes sense.
again,
Oh.
go ahead.
Oh, I
Go
was
ahead,
just going to add to what you said.
Please.
Because there was a mention about when the grass goes all the way up to that stucco. And so the
Yes.
sprinklers are there, and so half of that black is always going to
Yeah.
look white from the sprinklers.
Sure, yeah,
So
that's,
you have to consider when you're looking at it, picture half of it white,
yeah.
and so, but I don't, and that's why, maybe if they gave us a couple of options, like exactly matching the brick or a coordinating color that wouldn't show
That would
off
tie
so
into-
much.
Sure,
So if they could just, plug that in and
Yes.
give us a few ways to look at that.
yeah. And then it was just commented, the updated drawings, because obviously there's a foundation, that's currently there. Let's see if we can, kind of show that so we can get more realistic, more pictures there. So again, that is just kind of a natural step. But again, I'd love to hear, because I haven't talked with Ms. Clark or Ms. Judy on kind of your thoughts. Is there a key component that maybe I missed, or that Mr. Facer and Mr. Chair would need to know from the committee? From what
I'm
you,
wondering where the funding is for this.
okay.
Part of our budget, is it, seems like this
We
was
didn't talk
extra.
about that at this.
We did not.
So
We did
do
not.
you
So
want to
that's.
talk about the meeting first? Before we shift gears, or what do you
Oh,
want
I
to do?
It's because I don't have the exact answer. If you're okay, I'll just answer, Mr. Chair, if that's
Sure.
okay. Just because, again, it is important. So this will be the last, summer of '27. So we'll know where the budget is with there. Obviously, we're not going to cut any corners there. If there is any left over in our contingency, whether that goes specifically for this project or it goes in the 420 and then all of it gets paid out of our 420 capital improvement plan. But between the budget that we have now, I do anticipate that, well, I get made fun of because I'm already spending some of our contingency. But again, things are going really well. And we might have some contingency there within the budget that the board has approved to be able to, basically breathe a little bit more life in this existing building.
Okay.
And so, but you're an excellent question, because again, we'll have to look at those costs and look how much is left over, make sure we can do all that we.
That plays into some of these things that is being proposed. I mean,
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So again,
it's a big piece of it.
yeah, absolutely. So the after this meeting, I'll send our list to Design West. We'll get updated drawings, but then we'll also turn that over to Bateman Hall to give us some pricing.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
and as you're very, very familiar with this, the real pricing comes through bids, which can be rejected or accepted. But then at least with the budget, we'll be able to know. Especially, I'm hoping that by the fall, as we're within a year of completion, that we should know if there's any funds there within the existing budget to be able to do some of these things.
Thank you.
And I do have one more.
Yes.
Highlands all around the building, it's like red and black, because the paint is chipping a lot, and I think before, maybe it was painted red. Anyway, it already needs to be repainted. So the repainting of the building, isn't really part of
No.
the,
Sure.
like, the new addition. It's just part of our replacement schedule, that it's really the worst paying.
Correct.
And so that's really not a part of like extra something that
No.
we have to approve. It's really just the replacement schedule,
It
as is interior painting. But
It
so
is.
I guess really the only thing is a canopy on the front to match the canopy
Yep.
on the back, and then covering all that gate with all the electrical, mechanical.
Yep, cleaning up some of
right,
that
those
equipment. Yep.
entrance doors, just putting something around it. And so that's really, is that right? I mean, those are the two things. that
Yes,
are-
those are two.
that
that-
cost money.
Is that-
The vestibule is something that every school has been,
Yeah.
it's kind of on the replacement schedule.
Yeah.
And is Highland the last one to get that? Because all the elementaries have been getting those, like, a vestibule or like the secure entry or somehow redesigned so that they have that way of checking someone in
Correct. So,
before they just go into the building. And Highland this is something that, it's a safety thing. It's not.
correct, correct. And it was, and that was, so not all of the elementaries have that. And we're doing it at the same time as, we have the ADA, the push buttons that will open the door. We're doing that at the same time. And Highland had some components of this, but really what Highland was missing was that face-to-face, okay, I just need to drop off Johnny's phone. He left it. He needs it. Oh, sorry, bad example. I know. I'm sorry. After school, he needed his phone after school. Sorry, that's the only thing I grabbed. Dropped off his track shoes. Let's say that. Dropped off his track shoes. Now they're gonna have that vestibule that they can just pass that through the window, and they don't have to walk into the building.
Yeah, and I do want to explain one more thing with that, is just that with Highland, you actually had to cross a hallway to get
Oh,
to the
yeah,
office.
yeah.
And that isn't the case with any other school. It's the first thing you come to is the office.
Yeah.
And with Highland, you walk in and you can go left or right into the building, and you don't come to the office first.
Yeah.
So.
Correct.
anyway,
Megan,
just-
And that's another project that will be done this summer.
yeah, Megan has a question or comment.
I just wanted to piggyback on her question because
Yeah.
I know when you go into the middle schools, it's kind of open range as well. So is this something that we are planning to do to all buildings eventually?
We could look at them if there's a space next to that front entrance. Again, okay, yes, there will be some challenges, absolutely. Hawthorne's a challenge. Again, what made this a good fit with Highland was because there was a room right next to that front entrance that will, convert to some offices, throw some windows through there,
Already there.
and you'll see.
Yeah.
There will be some challenges.
Yeah, I agree. It's necessary for Highland. Just when she was saying like the safety issue of you can free range. I mean, you can go into Franklin and there's stairs either way or
Yeah,
Hawthorne.
it is.
so
You're right.
That had just made me think of that question. If this was a future plan that we were putting into SIP committees for.
That's something, we could, obviously at Franklin, at Hawthorne, it would definitely require some major, construction. But yeah, I think a lot of them,
A lot of
a lot of the middle schools, you
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
get
I
in
just
and
have
you're,
one comment before Heather has a question.
yeah.
No, I mean, we've talked about this security up at Highland a lot. We've talked about
Yep.
it, 3-4 times?
Yep.
Something like that. And it's easy, it's a quick fix, it's much needed. But I think a SIP committee, we're going to have a SIP committee, and we're going to be planning ahead.
Mhm,
We're
absolutely.
working on that, and then we'll discuss. I think that's a good time for us to discuss
Yeah.
that. Heather?
Well, I guess I was just going to address when trustee Judy suggested this was on the replacement schedule, but is it? And where is it? And is this the time? Because as Megan noted, or trustee Curtis, that, there is a replacement schedule, and so are we doing all this at Highland just because we're there, or are we changing the schedule? Because clearly, Highland's getting a huge uplift
It is.
right now.
It
And
is.
if there are other schools, and if funding is tight, where is this in the replacement
I
schedule?
appreciate that. I do appreciate that. We've known, obviously, this is coming for, 3 years now?
Right.
So there might have been some juggling to put, for example, the painting, at Highland, and you'll see security cameras as well, right? But we did all of Century security cameras last summer. We're gonna do, it's our recommendation to do that this summer, so it would tie in the old school to the new one, and that's really the the point of why we personally, I really want to give, Highland, the new section, the existing section, as much life and coming together, if you will.
Expense of others that
No,
needed it
no,
as
I
well.
appreciate you asking. Yep, hold me accountable, but
'Cause
no,
that's
I.
gonna come up, we're
Yeah,
gonna
oh,
get
it will,
comments
it will.
about
But no, I don't think
No.
I don't think it's coming at the expense of another school.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you ask for to speak? Okay. And Century was repainted last year.
Correct. That's
The
as well.
interior was painted last year, and
Portions of it,
I
yeah.
would be willing to bet a lot on the fact that Pokey has been painted since Highland has been painted.
And that,
So,
and
I
the,
mean, when you're talking about like, needs,
But I'm
You're
referring to
talking
all
about,
schools,
like-
not just
Yeah.
high schools.
right?
Yeah.
correct.
No,
But
my,
if we simplify.
Sure.
my understanding, this has been a long discussion, needless to say. I mean, we start talking about where we're going to get the money and
Yeah.
524 or whatever it was, whatever. But I think that all along the line, we've been saying that, okay, we're going to rebuild it, and when we're at it, we want to get it right while we're over there.
Correct.
And I think this was planned pretty much to be in part of the maintenance, but it was deferred.
Part of it
so
was,
that we
yep.
would do it all at once, and when we completed everything,
Yeah.
it would be a good time to get it done. That was my understanding.
And that's,
I remember.
yeah, by this August of 27, yep, we wanted to, have it all painted, so that way when all of it's open and all of even our music, are back in this, under the same roof, that it's as new of a building as we can get.
Yeah, get it all done, and rather than have something new and there's something that you need to come back and paint it later, you're already there.
Correct.
Everything's refreshed at the same time, and I think that was sort of planned in.
Sure.
That was my understanding.
Yep, and they'll still be, obviously, we're touching a little bit of the roof, but not all the roof, so the roof will probably need to be addressed in the next, couple years as well, just on its regular schedule. So it's not everything, but it is, a good portion of it. So.
Okay,
Okay.
are we ready to move on to the Power Up Pack?
Yes,
First of all,
yes, this is-
I have to ask, what is a Power Up Pack?
Well, I believe it's what Dairy West calls this. Essentially, it's a mobile cart that food service would like to put at Pocatello High School. If you remember Pocatello High School, their cafeteria is in the basement. So there's some kids that, hey, I'm not going downstairs. I'm just going to go outside and go there. But with this grant, and it's for equipment, that they'll be able to have this, they call it a combo mobile line, and it would be right across the office there, very convenient. That would have everything from a insulated beverage, dispenser, of course, a milk dispenser, a blender for any smoothies that the food service has, as well as some. Obviously, it wouldn't be a warming, but it would, if anything cold, it's grab and go sandwiches or lunches. And so this was something that Dairy West was putting out, and our food service coordinator, Heather Canfield, wrote this grant, and we received it. It was about $3,300. And so that'll be implemented at Pocatello High School, and feel really, really excited about that. And as you can see, they'll provide some updates and so forth. But we wanted to let the board know that, that we got that grant.
Wonderful.
So,
Congrats to her.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, see, that was a really quick one.
there you go.
This one maybe is,
Preliminary budget update.
yes, budget updates. Okay, so in your packet is just our timeline. And so you can kind of see, so for this Thursday, we're headed over to ISU for the post-legislative tour and get some of the updates on how to implement some of these laws and so forth. Our open enrollment insurance, and we will talk majority of this evening, or this section, on insurance. I have already notified Bannock County of our budget hearing date, so that's June 16th. So that has to be that date, and then it gets printed on all our tax bills that get sent out, and so forth. So, again, really, we're in that point of gathering a lot of the data. We got insurance rates just last week. Within 5 days, I should have liability insurance rates. The directors and coordinators will have their budgets done by the end of next week. We'll talk negotiations. That'll be in May as well. So May is really kind of coming down there, coming in line there. I just wanted to mention just a few things. Just briefly, one of our largest, if not, I'm pretty sure it is the largest benefit cost is insurance. And so I want to start with the good news. For our employees, there is no change to the employee premiums.
Wow.
So we're happy. We're happy for that. And I printed those off just for reference. Employee only is $82. For a family, it's $462. And so that's what we've enjoyed much less. And going to that state, the state pool, our state insurance plan has been very, very, very beneficial. That being said, they basically passed everything on to the district.
Of course.
14.44% increase. So now we're up per full-time employee $16,170 per year. That being said, we, as you know, they have split off. We have part of our discretionary dollars for insurance, and we got a 14.44% because we're on the state plan. And we're very fortunate. It was very wise of the board, Dr. Howell, the administration, that pushed for that, because this is the first year they've actually they split that. So since we're on the state plan, we got 3.25% more than other districts that were not on the state plan.
But it's 14%.
Still 14%. But that 3.25% is about $420,000. And so just so you know, it's about a third of the districts are on the state plan. Again, same insurance as the governor, as legislatures, and so forth. So so in the general fund, we'll be okay. What really is nervous is the federal programs, the other programs, the food service, right? I mean, because they have to. Federal programs, our titles, our IDA Part B, special services, they have to absorb that 14.44%. So that will be a challenge. That's the hard part there. Okay.
I was just going to ask you, that
Yeah.
3% that we get back to offset that increase, is that correct? Am I saying that correct?
That's the difference between our school district that is on the state plan and
Right.
one that's not.
So ones that's not on the state plan do not get extra money?
Yeah.
So all insurances are increasing across the board. They don't get an extra
They
amount of
get,
money to
what is that,
offset
11.25% increase? We got 14.44% increase.
So other insurances increased less, and so that's why we're getting that.
That is how the legislature justified it.
Oh, okay.
But I know some school districts, they're business managers, director of businesses, they're a little upset, that they got less because they have increases as well. It's just
They
that
match
now that we're
to the-
tied with the state.
Okay, but they matched them to the increases, so that theirs were 11%, so they got 11%, and then ours were 14, so we just have that extra just to make up that difference.
So as you know, the other 2/3 of the state have probably probably 2 dozen different. So it might not be. They might have gotten a 12% increase, and they're only going to get 11.
It may be.
It may hurt them.
I see.
Correct.
Heather?
Can you remind me the timing on the levy? Because I don't, is that something, are we still another year before we have to act?
No. We are. That's excellent. We have one more year, so this budget cycle is approved and set at 8.25. But that levy, we'll ask the board to start discussing. We'll have recommendations or discussions about that in July and August, because it
Doesn't apply to this?
would not apply to this.
Okay.
Obviously, the board can always adjust it, you can adjust it down, not up, of course. But no, for this 26-27 school year, we do have our supplemental levy in place.
Thank you.
Yep. Again, just some other things from the state. So since we're tied to state employees, we learned that actually no state employees, they call it change in employee compensation, or CEC, that remained zero. So basically no raises set in the scale. They will pay for movement, and so that's, on the scale. And so that's kind of the challenge that we'll have. They have the general discretionary remains the same for the second year in a row. So, and again, as we've discussed, we're thankful we didn't get cut, but it still kind of feels like a cut because price, everything's going up. But so is it for ISU as well, and they got a cut. So we're appreciative, and hopefully it stays that way so that we remain whole, I guess. So that's really, I'm getting word, I'll have exact numbers for you in the work session in May. We're looking at liability insurance is a modest, he said to kind of budget for 5% increase. I hope it would be less, but at least it's not double digits. And so we're just trying to gather that information and prepare what we have for you at the for the board at the May work session. And so, that would be for the board. But then Mr. Chairman, I don't know where you want to kind of have the advisory committee, if this is the discussion you wanted to have at this point, or
The budget advisory?
the budget advisory committee, how you'd like me to interact, or if you choose them, or as we talked last week, kind of what the timeline is,
Yeah.
or if, because obviously the full board would get the information, but I'm open for transparency, and I will educate as many, whoever would like to listen, on how we calculate revenues and do the different expense categories and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Deanna, would you like to be on that committee, and what do you feel about that?
Sure.
Okay, I would like to be on it too, and what do you think? What recommendations would you have? When do you want to start that?
Do you want to talk about who would be on that committee first? Because I think that timeline of how are we going to pick them has to come before we decide when it starts.
And so what timeline are you thinking then, Jonathan?
Well, again, let me work backwards, right? June 16th is our hard date for our budget hearing. I have to publish it in the paper 2 weeks in advance, so that first week in June is when I have to have all the figures into our system and so forth. So then just working back, so then I basically have the rest of April and May for the committee if you'd like.
Did you want to talk about that the next work session, or earlier?
Increase your time by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
We're
I
already sitting in
think-
about 5 weeks.
I think everybody else, we have this attachment here that talks about the membership, like some board members, district administration, of course, certified staff representative. Classified staff representative would probably be you.
It can
mean,
be,
you
absolutely.
do-
Or it's up to you,
You
but
already do represent
yeah.
their needs.
Yep.
I don't know, whatever.
I was going to say, in the past, Shauna Miller served on that one because she was so involved with the insurance part of it.
Who?
Shauna Miller.
She's our
so an
benefits
insurance
coordinator in
representative?
HR.
Oh, so we
A
want to have
possibility.
that?
Or that would be the
As
classified.
representative.
Oh,
Yeah.
as the classified representative, okay.
Again, just a thought. And again, it's 100% up to the board on, again, I think we talked about baby steps. Do we have a full, committee this time, or, a handful? And then see what we like, and then we'll start obviously much earlier next year. It's really up to the board.
We have gotten feedback, like several different board members have mentioned feedback about, we want to be able to serve on committees and, have some kind of whatever, just kind of open communication. So that's kind of what the point of this is really communication.
Sure.
It's really not really a part of just I mean, it's just communication. I mean, and so as far as like the, I guess here's an idea I'll just throw out, but I'm not married to any idea. I don't care. I was thinking maybe we put out a thing like what we do with the curriculum adoption committee, same thing. Just, there's a committee that we're organizing at the board level. This is what it is, who would like to be on that committee. And then as far as like how we pick it, it can be lottery, it can be, I don't really care.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate what the intent is here, but I'm also kind of recognizing this is crunch time for Jonathan. And to try and put together, and I would imagine you already have a pretty solid straw man of a budget anyway at this. I almost
Gathering
wonder if
information,
this
you know.
was not the right time. We should have done this a few months ago, because I would feel like we'd be getting, not that I mean, it's important for openness and communication, and that's one thing Jonathan has always been, open door policy. I think trying to pull together a committee in time for a June night, I mean, we saw how hard it took to get us that Highland committee pulled together with, I mean, it just.
It took 2 weeks.
It took a lot of time,
Yeah.
and specifically of Jonathan's time, trying to coordinate schedules. So my proposal would be that we set this on the calendar early for next year. Make sure we get proper information out to community that would be interested, so they have time to think about, hey, I do want to be a part of that process. You know, to be whether it's a fly on the wall, just listening to how decisions are made, rather than trying to kind of throw something together at the last minute when he's under a tremendous amount of pressure to get something done. And I don't know, I just think it would be more efficient, and then we wouldn't, I mean, I would also hate to put a distaste in a community member or a parent or whomever that would sit and feel rushed or like they weren't even part of it, and why did I even come? Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just
no.
thinking how I would feel when I do my budget for my
Correct.
office.
No, and that's,
This time would be the wrong time to bring people in,
Yeah.
just
I agree.
because.
and remember,
You're-
that's right.
You're in a pipeline that's getting skinnier, and love the idea, think it's important, but we need to generate that true interest in it and be involved in the process versus just being a checkbox that, hey, look, we've got a committee.
Sure.
At this point in time, that's
Right.
my thoughts.
Yeah,
I
Deanna.
have a comment. I like that idea. I like the idea of deciding what this framework's gonna be right now.
Sure,
We
of course.
can decide tonight at this meeting, is this the way we want this committee to be set up?
Mm-hmm.
We can decide how the members are chosen. We can decide when this begins, maybe it's August, when school starts, so that,
Sure.
we send that out to
Oh,
everybody,
I see. Yep,
to the
yep,
parents,
yep.
to the teachers who might be, I think the only thing I want to stay away from is hand-picked members.
Okay.
So I just want it to be open to everyone to be able to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, everyone can't come. It's an open meeting. They
Yeah.
they can listen. But as far as the parents, the certified staff, the parents, and the community members, I want that to be volunteer. But everyone else,
Okay.
you put your input into, but the rest of it, obviously, the district administration, that's up to you, how you want to do that.
Oh, okay.
Everything else. But
So then,
that's
yeah,
my
so Heather
suggestion.
has made a suggestion, you've made a suggestion. Megan, do you have any comments in regards to this?
No, I felt like last week I asked that same question, that did we want to wait till July after we went through all the whole budget thing to start putting together a committee? Because I do feel like it's almost set in stone at this point, right? You're just finishing pulling all the numbers together.
The
and
framework is, and just plugging, just waiting for the data to come
Yeah.
in.
then, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
open to
Jim?
I agree with.
No, I think we have a consensus, I agree. Why rush it?
Yep.
I
And
think.
we've
and-
done fine without it before.
Yeah, exactly, that's good. But I do think that, we again, should plan ahead. But not tonight, I think, let's put it off to next month's
That's
work
fine.
session or something,
Right.
and we can start the process of how we want that committee to look. And so,
So now, can I ask you a question?
sure,
So what my suggestion is that what Renee has done is she's done sections of our policies to approve. And so every month, we're gonna have a new section. This happens to be in this section. And so
That's what I was gonna
that's why
point
we're
out.
talking about it right now.
So
So we
becau-
can decide what we want, then this section is done. And
Right.
we're gonna move on to the next section next month.
Right, so that was my suggestion, was the proposal that you've put in there for kind of a framework for this committee, that we would just add that to either the policy or the procedure under that ISBA committees. And look at that, like the kind of red line version in May work session, and then first reading in May board meeting.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so right now, we just need to decide kind of what we want in there. Not that we can't make a change
Right.
to it.
Right.
We can make a change to it at any point, but especially once we approve all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the purpose of this discussion is because I was reading through, what are we supposed to read through and be prepared for this meeting?
Sure.
And so that's what this is under. That's the policies that we're approving. Kind of we're reading through, and then it's checked off, moved off of our list, and then we go to the next, the 200s.
So let me ask a question then. So right now, we have in the packet the Budget Advisory Committee Organizational Framework Proposal. And you're saying you would like to have that, a first reading on that, or?
No, just
okay.
like, is this something we want to have? Add to, is this a framework we want to add to our first reading in May?
Right.
Is it May?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. And then if anybody wants to change or add to this, you can do it now, or you can do it in May. But just the fact that we're just deciding that, yes, we do want to do a committee, and it would be approved.
okay, good. So we do have a basic framework here.
Uh,
And, yes, Heather?
So I guess when you're asking, the thing I think would be important would be to put when you would form this committee, so that it's early enough in time, that it's and maybe that's referring to
So-
Jonathan, when a
So
committee like
maybe-
this would be.
Yeah, wait, let Heather finish.
Right?
Yeah,
So do
I
you-
just think there ought to be a recommendation, so that it doesn't happen in April or May, when
Correct,
things
correct,
have to
yeah,
be done in June. That's
So
all.
my question to you is, do you want to add that to this? Because I think we all kind of are deciding that we want to do that then. I don't know if it has to be added to this or not, but it doesn't matter to me.
Because don't our other committees
No, they
No,
just
they
start at
don't.
the beginning of the year.
okay.
And this would probably just do the same thing. Like our curriculum advisory, all of our committees, actually, that's in our policy.
I think it
In
does
the
depend on
January
the
work
committee,
session, all the committees are decided upon
as far as like the board.
for the next year.
Yes, for board volunteers
board
and for which ones are
volunteers.
coming. And they do have their kind of set schedules, like Jonathan's subcommittee typically starts in October. So some of them vary, but this one could be to where as part of that framework, you say, I would like to start this one, or start like bringing that committee together and looking at those applications in July or August or whatever
Okay.
it is.
So
Megan,
we put it together okay, yeah.
Megan.
On the duties and responsibilities, the first one says review prior year budgets. So is August, September the right time?
Right.
Yay or nay?
Good, excellent. So again, budgets, reviewing budgets, sure, that's because the budget's there. The audit is not done until, the end of September. So if you want to see actual numbers, it would have to be a little bit in the fall. But budgets, I mean, the budget is, what we have, and you can kind of see unaudited actuals, but as you know, we do quite a bit of accruals, kind of and that's an accounting term basically to take, the teachers' salaries that are paid out in July and August and basically put that in this fiscal year, all the benefits, and just that way you have a good clean cutoff for everything that happened in the 25-26 school year as of, 6/30.
So would you prefer October over September start?
For me, it's always the spring. So I'll give you feedback and you tell me, because I can be adaptable. As mentioned, in the fall, it's kind of our SIP. That's kind of our big SIP committee. We're talking about projects that the board kind of looks to approve in December. Then the budget's always spring for me. And so even if it's, okay, the annual meeting or something tied with that, okay, let's get this committee set in January, and we start in February, March, April, May. Give us 4 months before the end of May. That was in my mind. That's what I was thinking there. But if you want to start any earlier, we definitely can do that. But that's when the rubber hits the road, is in the spring.
Yeah,
I
that's-
almost feel like the first session needs to be school finances 101, because, I mean, it
Sure.
took me,
Absolutely.
a year to grasp
And you all
funds,
know that.
the-
Yes.
how things are.
And that's
income
that's
comes
my
from.
that's my big concern about some of the volunteers, as you said. I mean, it's not
It's complicated.
the normal. Yeah.
That's
But
why the
I'll
education piece is so important.
yeah, and but I will do is we need to start that in the fall.
Agreed. I think
Sure.
that also the only other thing that I caught on there that I was wondering if maybe a 2-year commitment, just so that they have that first year to get a grasp and then maybe have a better, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, because, parents, their kids graduate and
Right.
I mean,
interest wane.
and they move
Yeah.
and there's so
Recommend
much,
it anyway.
Right.
there's so much movement
Right.
year to
First right of
year.
refusal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thought. I mean, it definitely could be educational in the fall. Okay, these are some of the forums. These are some of the revenues. And obviously we would use this year's data. Okay, we set the budget June 16th, and here's how we kind of did that. And then, okay, now the heavy lifting starts in the spring, where we'll set the 26, 27, 28, 27, 28 budget. So, anyway, just a thought. I'll do. I'm open for whatever you'd like. How many meetings do you want? It's just time. So.
Right.
All right, so,
I have, well, I love the idea about it's really educational for the August meeting. It's really kind of getting everybody up to speed. This is how the budget is run.
Yeah.
That's really what I was envisioning this being, is an educational
Oh, see, I
thing.
would have thought January, not
And
August.
so if we do
Right.
August
And
and
that's-
just, it's the beginning, and they just said, here's how it works, and then we meet in January. I mean, how many times, I was thinking maybe we meet in August and have that, and then January is like, okay, now we're starting to create this. Because if we don't meet in August, then they don't have anything to do with SIP,
Sure.
that's like already done.
Yeah, it just
So
depends
if
on when
we
you'd
go
like to start it.
August,
You know.
Yeah, if you go August and, hey, these are the decisions that are ahead of us, and then January, okay, now this is what's ahead of, I mean, that's 2 times. But then this committee could have like a personal invitation to come to all of our,
You bet.
hearings.
You bet.
And say, if you want to learn more, come to our hearings. And then in between that, they can learn how to use the website and kind of educate themselves. I don't know, those 2 main meetings is kind of what I'm thinking on my mind, and then maybe, I don't know if we want to do any other meeting or not, but just like the January, and then we look ahead, say, okay, we're looking at the SIP, this is how it works, this is the money that we can spend, and this is, how it works.
Sure.
And then you also talked about including the board sooner on the SIP, so that it's not, I
Yes.
don't know, that was a discussion that.
We did.
Right.
We did.
Ray had mentioned.
And that's the Highland. Yeah, we
Last
started with that one.
Last meeting, I believe you mentioned that.
yes.
Anyway, so you could talk about that if you want to, but, anyway, that was, I didn't really have a specific idea, but that might be an idea, is August, and then January, and then maybe, if they want to do another time, I don't know. I just think it would just get them in the door to understand how they can read stuff.
Sure.
And then say, and this is your additional information, and direct them where they can find it on the website, 'cause it's all on the website.
Yeah.
And then they can kind of educate themselves. I mean, it's just really opening the door.
Yeah.
Megan,
Thank you. I would propose October, because then we have enrollment numbers.
Smart. True.
And then also, I really like this part on offer input on proposed expenditures and program funding requests. I think it gives us time to get started in the year, see our enrollment numbers, and then have a little bit of a discussion there about programs.
I like that.
So,
So I hadn't thought of this, but again, this committee could also be involved in the budget amendments, that happen in February, March
And then
timeframe.
what they are.
Instead of understand what they are, but then that would kind of springboard them into the, setting the new one. again, I'll do whatever the board would like in the amount of meetings. You know, obviously, I'll make sure we get done what we need to get done, when we need to get it done. But we'll involve whoever you'd like.
So, I like the idea of
October?
October, and then whether it's January or whether it's some point after that, whether it's February or March, whatever you think.
Sure.
Like, is the appropriate time to then say this is kind of a transition now we're looking ahead, or whatever you think with that.
Okay.
Because obviously, October would be looking behind.
Sure.
This is what we've done, and now this is what we have ahead, and then maybe one other, I don't know. That's just an idea.
I'm okay
I
with
have-
that.
Okay. Do we have a consensus on that?
I agree.
Okay, let's do that.
So do you want to add that into this policy or whatever this is going to be called? Then
Yeah,
it
that's
would
fine with
be
me.
Yeah,
October,
add that for reading, first reading or whatever it is.
October, a meeting, kind of, it can be changed, obviously,
Sure.
but just what.
I see a lot of heads nodding, okay. I don't see anybody opposing. All right, let's go
We
ahead.
didn't decide the second month, but I was kind of asking you.
Sure, and that's, you know, we could, you know, January for sure, by mid-February, I'll have the adjustments all done.
So maybe like March 1st for the second?
Yeah, sure,
do enough
that,
time?
that we could do that. And, you know, a lot of the budget, as you know, is, okay, what's the legislature gonna do? You know, and so we could, you know, highlight that in February, March, and,
They could be involved in that.
sure, or at least watching,
That affects CTE, like,
Right, they
emailing
would be
our
aware of what
legislators.
We're looking at and what we're watching. I
So
mean,
does
you know,
that sound
could
like a
get lot of
one
people
in
involved.
January, one in February, one in March, or just one in February, one in March?
Again, we could kind of determine that.
So I'd like to update that language towards part of that framework
Sure,
for, you know, the red line
October,
version that I
and then-
put in the May packet.
So the October meeting and then a March meeting, and then do you want to do one?
I'd probably say a May meeting. I'd do a May meeting, probably mid-May. Again, it would be right close to when the board gets all their information, but this would be, you know, any more Q&A type
Right.
things.
Right, I mean, it sounds like they're
Like
kind
that.
of important time periods.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, timelines, yep.
Mhm. Thank you for explaining this.
You bet.
Yes,
You bet.
We should really know more.
okay.
Yep.
So then Renee, do you have what you need?
Yes.
Okay, we have a consensus as well. All right, great. So are we ready to look at?
I believe so.
the-
In front of you, this, and that was
Negotiation.
more just information, in front of you for action, we did receive a request to open negotiations for the 26-27 school year. Again, I will say, and I don't even see who's sitting behind me, but anyway, we have enjoyed a great relationship with our, the Pocatello Education Association. And I will say, it's great, and we anticipate this, I was going to say despite the laws, but anyway, that we will do everything we can to be fair and to have that. So in front of you is the request to open that, and we have, we're looking at some dates, the first and middle part of May to get everybody and have that as a table.
Okay, I assume,
Ask a quick question. And I know, so the law that indicated that the union has to be removed from the school district.
That's correct.
July
it's
1.
July 1.
July 1.
And so all that does, it's a payroll change, basically, that they now have to collect dues on their own.
That's a component of it, yes.
And then the other piece I understood is that the president now has to be full-time teacher, no paid time off.
That's what we understand as well. We are, a lawyer is looking into, you know, how to interpret that law. There might be some changes to the negotiated agreement, some larger changes there. So yeah, we want to comply with the law and still work with our great union. So.
Okay, thank you.
are there any other questions, comments?
So in front of you is the action to approve the request to open negotiations.
Okay, so then we're ready to receive a motion to accept the open negotiations with the PEA. Is there a motion?
I move that we open negotiations, approve the request to open negotiations.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion has been made and
Is there a
seconded.
discussion?
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I guess, is there anything on this request of information that you're concerned about, or
No.
is this pretty standard?
You know,
what we've
this is
asked
the
for?
standard, yep, this is the standard boilerplate. A lot of it's on the website, and it's not anything extraordinary, because we have to have the same thing to, you know,
Okay.
as we calculate our numbers as well.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded that we open up negotiations with the PEA for the 2026-2027 school year. And we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next on the item are the bid awards.
Okay. We have some bids there, and you'll see that a lot of this is, you know, for Highland, again, moving the, with the new building and the old building, and making sure we had a bid for some intercom system, again, that would upgrade the existing intercom system and match it with the new building. 8 vendors were invited to bid. We only received bid from one vendor, our good vendor here in Pocatello, and from System Tech. Not knowing exactly what that is, it is approximately $94,000 over our budget. But again, we still would like to try this system, and then we will modify it going forward in other schools as well. But it is a motion before you to award the intercom bid to System Tech for the amount of $279,329. Okay. This next one is kind of the larger one. For our west, the land to the west involves a parking lot and it's tennis courts. As you'll see, kind of these bid packages as it came back from the architect were in subcontracting packages because it just made sense. While they're doing site construction for the parking lot, let's do the same thing, and we got a better price because of that. So you'll see the 6 different packages: site construction, concrete, landscaping, irrigation, the surface, athletic surfaces, electrical, and some fencing. And so you'll see M&S Development, Mickelson Construction, and Spencer Hill, whom all three have done these type of projects for us before, so we're very happy with that. But again, it's at the request of administration to award those bid packages as highlighted in yellow. Now, this being so large, it was, we were close, but again, we were a little bit under in our estimate, $181,723 over the estimated amount. Now, again, as a reminder, even though the cost was a little bit over, this is through that great donation by the city of Pocatello to pay for half of the tennis court. That's what that last sentence is, because I got with these vendors and said, okay, I need to know how much the cost of the tennis court and the parking lot would be. And you can see that the tennis courts were about $950,000, and the parking lot is a little over 1.4 million. And so,
Grant will come off the 952.
that is correct. That is correct. And so,
I do have a question.
yep.
Sure.
This, I don't see it anywhere, so I'm assuming it does not include tearing out existing tennis courts.
It does not.
Okay.
That is
Just
correct.
wanted to double check.
That's correct. Yeah, I can speak to that. We've had some internal discussions. We will try to leave the existing tennis courts there as long as we can. But to get ready for December, we really are pushing Bateman Hall to give us back that south parking lot, because we need as much as we can there. You know, when the gym's open, I mean, that's in the, that's going to be very key. So they're going to need more parking there to the west. So in the fall, hopefully it'll be after these new tennis courts, or there might be a month that we'll actually use that as tennis courts, as a lay-down yard, as a storage, the existing ones. And that's why those won't be touched until summer of 27.
But that will be after the new ones are already.
That is correct. Again, there might be a month that's overlap, but like I said, the end goal is to get that south parking lot vacated and repaired. Again, it might be a 2-phase thing. I don't know I can tell you for sure it's going to be a 2-phase thing, because we won't be able to get these islands and, by this December, through the summer, fall. Well, we will see. We'll do the very best we can, but I anticipate we'll have to have it phased, right? It'll be probably just repaired so we can park on it, and then in summer 27, we'll look to see the enhancements that we can make to that, as we shown on the drawing. The last one is security cameras. Again, we've upgraded. For example, Century was last year, and but we found a great solution. It's an open eye solution. Technology loves it. Users love it. Our SROs love it. And so this is our largest group of. You'll see one high school, two middle schools, and 3 elementary schools. 4 vendors were bids from 4 vendors were received. One actually had to withdraw because of a clerical error. Actually, we would have got a heck of a steal. It was so obvious. I even questioned it while we were reading it. So, are you sure it's not 113,000? No, it's only 13,000. Yeah, it was an error. So they unfortunately had to withdraw their entire bid. And anyway, it was just a clerical error on one of those, and obviously they didn't want to lose money on that one, so they had to withdraw. You can see in the highlighted, System Tech is who we recommend, but again, that is about $8,800 under our budget there, and it really will propel a lot of our schools into getting these nice security systems, and we'll continue to do that every year in the replacement schedule.
Are there any questions or comments in regards to these bids, Megan?
I just have an overall question. We've had a lot of bids that have come in under, and
Yes.
then we have that one that came in well over. Are we still sitting overall, the whole SIP, are we still sitting in a good spot?
We are. Overall, we are still under budget, and that I will share with you in May as well, as we talk budgets and so forth. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any others? Okay, then I guess the board is ready to receive a motion regarding the bids for the intercoms, tennis at Highland High School, tennis courts and parking lot at Highland High School, and the security camera systems at various schools. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the agreement between I'm sorry, I meant the wrong one. I hereby move that the board approve the bids as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next would be
Okay.
the agreement.
Yes, we are on the home stretch here. The next is an interagency agreement with the city of Chubbuck and our school district in the way of that we use Capel Park for our softball games and practices. And this just basically, codifies some of the requirements that we've already done. Highland administration, Mr. Bell, our athletic director, has reviewed all these, and this is what we already have a good agreement there. This is just kind of solidifying and putting that into an agreement. It's up for action to approve to the board if you'd like.
Questions or comments?
Do the softball teams not use our baseball fields?
They do not.
They're not legally the same size.
Yeah, they're just a little bit
I
different.
learned something new.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't. What school does have a softball field? I think only one,
Century.
Century.
Correct.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Pocatello use OK Ward, and Highland use Capel Park.
Thank you.
Okay, then I guess we're ready for a motion regarding this agreement with the city of Chubbuck.
I hereby move that the board approve the agreement between Pocatello Chubbuck School District Number 25 and the City of Chubbuck for Capel Park as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes.
Okay, last but not least for me is the request from the board to continue for now almost the 25th year of to provide summer food service program to our community. The proposed sites, again, that have to qualify, The 7 sites there are listed. We anticipate starting right after school, so June 8th, and we would go until August 7th. And so then we would not serve anything on July 3rd, as that we don't get very much participation that day. So before you is just a request to allow our food service department to submit the application to continue our summer food service program.
Questions or comments? Well, I guess we're ready to receive a motion then for the food service summer program.
I hereby move that the board grant permission to operate the food service summer meal program as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Jonathan. Next up is the superintendent's report. Superintendent Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first up for you is the board calendar, and well, here we are at the regular board meeting. Next week on Wednesday, we have a placeholder for student discipline hearings. We only have 2 DDRCs tomorrow, so I do not anticipate that we'll have any of those next week. The 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and then Friday, May 8th, we have local issues committee that early morning. If you're interested, please RSVP Ms. Johnson. And then we have various school visits for each of you. I think, are you going to be gone, Ms. Clark?
I am gone
Yes.
in May, yes.
We still have one there, so it's still on.
Okay,
And I think all the others are still covered.
okay.
So,
And if you do end up having disciplinary, I will be unavailable that evening. So if that happens to,
Okay, we'll
Okay.
need to
if you need,
see if we have 4, get by phone. We just need 1 in person for sure.
I should be there.
Okay, let's see. Mother's Day, don't forget that, May 10th, for sure. And then May 12th, Community Prevention Meeting. If you're interested, again, let Ms. Johnson know. And then that will be our board work session starting at 3:30. Again, a placeholder for May 13th, student discipline hearings. And then we see that Mrs. Furnace is going to be out of town for a little bit. We have Memorial Day in there. We'll have another board meeting for you. And then I couldn't believe it when I saw this, and in fact, I reported on it at Chamber Board today. Graduations,
yeah.
June 5th. We will celebrate all of our graduates.
Well,
The times will start as they did last year. I think that worked well for families. We didn't hear that it didn't. So we have that earlier start time of 10 a.m. for Pocatello High School, 1 o'clock for Highland High School, and Century at 4. And then
believe
New
there's
Horizon
also-
on Thursday, June 4th.
I think,
Yep,
isn't
New
there
Horizon
also,
at 6 p.m. at the Wellness Complex.
I believe Arches also has a graduation on the 4th.
Okay. we
During the
will-
day at 1 o'clock,
Okay.
Arches has a
May,
graduation.
June?
June. mhm.
June 4th.
Same day as
Aren't
New
there, Janelle?
Horizons.
I think there's a couple kids
We have school that day, right?
at Arches.
Yes. We do. Okay.
I'll let you know about my school visits, because I might need to, it looks like I'm the only one doing
No, I'm on there. For Indian Hills.
You're
For-
the only one at that one.
Arches.
Uh-huh.
For Arches?
Yeah.
For visit?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then, okay.
Yeah, if you need to reschedule,
Oh my
let Ms.
gosh.
Johnson know.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And my other item tonight, under my section anyway, but I'm going to defer to Ms. Johnson.
well, before you go there, I did include in the addendum on the board calendar that
Oh.
Jason provided some dates for a training
Oh,
starting
go back to it.
the last week of
Where's
April,
the-
first part of May,
Okay.
and that's his only availability for the rest of the year. So
Last,
if you want to get that,
last week of April?
yes.
So we
No,
need to tell you
yeah,
which
I think he
days.
said the 29th through the 1st.
Okay.
And then there's, let me pull it up. It's in the addendum.
Which addendum? I'm not.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, I'm not seeing it either, but I can
Is
do
it-
May 1st. That's Friday.
All right, let me just go to my email and tell you then, because I was supposed to
Yeah,
put that in the addendum,
yeah.
and I totally thought I did.
Yeah, please do send us an email. And then we can all reply back.
Okay, I'll just
Yeah.
do that. I'll forward Jason's email to everybody and you
Yeah.
let me know it works.
I mean, I don't know if you want to know now. I could do Friday,
Okay,
May 1st, in the morning and then all morning. And then on Thursday, I could do from 2:30 on.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody else knows their schedule.
I cannot do Cinco de Mayo.
okay,
We have a big party in the Montessori, so.
okay.
All right, we'll get you word back, or word of that, and then you can reply back
The
to Ms.
29th
Johnson.
and 30th.
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll see how it works out for you.
Free other than that.
Yeah, just send an email and I can
Yep.
check my paper calendar where I keep all my stuff.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Sounds good.
then I will move on to the policies to be heard on second reading. Those policies include 3301 public records, policy 6311 virtual learning, policy 8201 student placement retention credits and acceleration, and then policy 8205 middle school advancement requirements. I did not have any proposals for changes to those policies, so if everybody was good as they were when we reviewed them last, then we'll just ask you to adopt them on second reading tonight.
I have one question about this. And so we also had the updated version of just a policy for committees. Can we just add that to when we do the red line?
Yeah, and
May?
that one was like a separate, like first blush review of all of those 1,000 sections. These were ones that are already in place that we had started
Right,
reviewing 2 months ago.
right, so I guess it's a
So,
different,
Yeah,
I guess it's different than these.
right.
But, do you have that? Do you have that so that we can have that change for going so that? we
For
can
May,
be
yes.
Done with the 100?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, this is just for these 4 particular policies to be heard, so.
Okay, so then do we have any other questions or comments about these 4 draft policies? Okay, then I guess we're ready to receive a motion to hear these policies on second reading.
I hereby move that the board hear the following policies on second reading as presented: public records, virtual learning, student placement, middle school advancement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded that we approve these policies for a second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. That is the end of our agenda, and I hereby move that the board adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.